Hi everyone, welcome to Yoga with Heini. I'm Heini, and this week I'm going to lead you through a basic Hatha Yoga class. So we're going to do a lot of single poses, and it's going to be especially strengthening and stretching for the legs. Let's get started. For this week's practice, you don't need any props. So I'm going to lead you through the practice without using any props. But if you know that you have sensitive knees and you want to have something soft to cushion the knees, you could have a blanket or some cushions, some pillows there. And if you like sitting on a block, we're going to start from a seated pose. Then you could have something to place under the pelvis. But you can do this practice without any props as well. And all that said, let's get started. So find yourself in an easy, comfortable seat. We're going to spend here a minute or two just breathing before we go into any further poses. So make this an easy pose. It could be cross-legged seat, or you might sit on your feet on your shins if that's easier. Any easy pose. And then once you have found that seat, let your shoulders soften. Maybe close your eyes or just soften your gaze down towards the ground. And take a few slightly slower breaths in and out. Let the in breaths flow down towards the chest. Let the ribs expand and open as you breathe in. Maybe even send your breaths down towards the belly, but don't force your belly breathing here. Often when we're seated, when we're standing up, there's more space and it's easier to breathe out to the ribs if we have a bit of core support going on. So that might be then easier to not breathe down to the belly when we are in an upright pose. But of course, if it's natural to you, then let yourself breathe all the way down to the belly. Let yourself find an easy rhythm, a calm rhythm in your own breath. As we go through the practice, I encourage you to focus on ease of breath rather than taking as deep breaths as possible. Give yourself a few more breaths here. Let your shoulders stay soft. Let your neck stay soft. And let your hips stay as soft as possible. And just notice how you feel now before we start to move, before we go into any further poses. And throughout the practice, keep observing how you feel in every pose, in every movement. If anything hurts, don't do it. We are here to look after ourselves, not to hurt the body. And now if you have your eyes closed, maybe open your eyes. Just slowly, gently bring yourself back to your practice space. And then with your next in-breath, reach arms up towards the ceiling. Lengthen up as you breathe in. And as you exhale, release the arms sideways back down. We'll do this another 2 times. With your in-breath, lengthen arms up. So following that natural rhythm of your breath. And exhale, release the arms down. Once more. With your own in-breath, arms lengthen up. Let the ribs open, let the chest open. And exhale, release the arms down. Good, we'll leave the arms down. You could roll the shoulders. And then we're going to go into a twist and a forward bend. Now for this, bring yourself into a cross-legged seat first. And from that cross-legged seat, open your right leg out to the side. It doesn't need to be straight on the side, just somewhere where you feel you can open the leg but still sit on both buttocks. And it could be that that right leg is slightly bent as well. We're going to go into a seated twist first. So now bring your right hand somewhere on the left knee or left thigh, and then reach your left hand behind you. Could be that you have your fingertips on the mat, or it could be the whole hand on the mat. As you inhale, lengthen up again. Exhale, twist out to your left side. Let your chest lead the way into that twist. You could turn your head towards the left shoulder. But if that tenses the neck, just keep the neck more neutral. You don't need to force the neck. And just slightly turn the right foot toes up towards the ceiling, that extended leg side. Turn the toes up towards the ceiling. It might give you a bit of more of an opening around the right hip, right inner thigh. Take one more breath in and out. Keep shoulders soft. And then exhale, slowly release the twist. Come back to center. Leave your legs as they are. And now step your hands in front of you. We're going to do a forward bend. Inhale, lengthen the back forward. Exhale, round your spine, down and forward. You can bend your arms or step hands further forward. You might go all the way down onto your elbows, but if you feel that that's too far down now, just keep your arms extended. So you decide how far down and forward is good to go. Let your head, your neck lean down and forward. And breathe a few times towards the back side of your body. Breathing towards the shoulder blades, towards the lower back. So this could be a big opening around the legs, but also along the back side of your spine. Take another breath in and out. And then with an in-breath, slowly roll the back up. You can help with the hands, with the arms to lift the back up. Open the chest, roll the shoulders. And then we'll change the legs the other way around. So now bend your right leg in front of you and open, extend the left leg out to the side again. Finding a place where you still feel you can sit on both buttocks. And we're going to go for the twist on the other side. So now bring left hand to the right knee or right thigh and walk or reach your right hand behind you. Again, it might be just fingertips touching the floor. Inhale, lengthen the back up. And exhale, continue twisting to your right. And again, also focus on that left leg, that extended leg. Turn the toes in your left foot slightly up towards the ceiling. So we keep that left leg active. The left leg is rotating in the opposite direction than where we are twisting the spine. And keep breathing. Again, head could turn towards the right shoulder. Or you might decide to keep the neck, the head more neutral. Maybe you're looking out to the side. Shoulders soft. Take another breath or two in and out here. And just note if this side feels different compared to the first side. And then with an exhalation, slowly release the twist. Again, come back to the center and we go into the forward bend. So leave legs as they are, step hands in front of you, lengthen the neck forward, and inhale, reach your back just slightly forward. Exhale, start to round your spine into a forward bend. Again, you can bend elbows or step hands further forward. And maybe even come down onto your elbows if that feels good. But don't force it. You can stay a bit higher up, still keep the arms straight. Maybe you just keep walking the hands further forward, slowly leaning a bit further forward. Wherever you are with your arms, let your neck, your head sink forward, opening the back side of the neck as well. And take another breath or two in and out here. Again, second side might feel very different to the first side. And then as you inhale, slowly start to roll the back up. Help with the hands, with the arms to lift the back up. Open the chest, you can roll the shoulders. And then you could close the legs. We're going to move on to all fours. So bring yourself onto hands and knees. And here, if you know that you have sensitive knees, bring that soft blanket or some pillows under the knees. And we're going to do a few cat-cow movements. Hands about under the shoulders, knees about under the hips. As you exhale, round your spine up towards the ceiling, like a cat rounding its spine. Inhale, open your chest and send the breath towards the chest as you find your way into a gentle back bend. You could look forward. Next exhalation, again, round your spine and also round your neck. So you bring your head down. You could look towards the thighs. Inhale towards the chest and let your chest open forward. You can lift your tailbone up. Another 2 rounds with your own breath, with that rhythm, pace of your own breathing. And if you want to take extra breaths along the way, feel free to do that. So the movement itself could be quite slow, so you have time to notice how you feel. And one more round, or finish the round that you're doing right now. Let the head move together with the back. Find one more back bend, open the chest. And then bring yourself to a neutral spine, so not rounding or back bending the spine. And from there, we're going to step the right foot forward, close to the hands, and we'll find our way into a low lunge. So now you could let your pelvis come slightly down and forward. Check the right knee is about on top of the right ankle. And from there, press the right foot down. Inhale, start to lift your back up and reach arms up. Now here you could bring the palms together. Gonna cross your thumbs to lock the hands together. But if that feels bad in the shoulders or neck, feel free to keep the arms wider apart. But with the intention of reaching your upper body up, opening the chest, maybe even looking slightly higher up, while opening the front of the left thigh, left hip. You might feel this as a stretch at the back of the right thigh. Breathe again towards the ribs. Let the tops of the shoulders stay soft. Take another breath in and out. The right foot actively pressing down. And then as you exhale, slowly release that upper body down. Bring both hands to the ground. maybe hands to the inside of that right foot. We're going to step into downward dog. So tuck the left foot toes under and step your both feet back, lifting the pelvis up. And here you can adjust your hands, your feet. We arrive into this triangle shaped pose called the downward facing dog, where your hands, your feet are touching the floor and the pelvis lifting up. Now it could be that you want to bend your knees. That is very fine. I would suggest to find length through the spine first before straightening the legs, because if there is a lot of tension at the backs of the legs, then straightening the legs might force your back into a very rounded shape. Here, trying to lengthen, extend the spine, let your head drop down, soften the neck, take another breath in and out. You're very welcome to move a bit from one foot to the other. And then slowly we start to find our way into that low lunge on the other side. So now shift the weight a bit more to your hands and then step your left foot forward. Again, close to the hands. Bring the right knee down and you can release the right foot toes. Again, let yourself adjust so that your left knee is about on top of the left heel and ankle. Pelvis can come slightly down, and then press the left foot down and start to lengthen the back up. Inhale, open the chest, and again, either bring palms together. You can lock your hands with the thumbs, crossing the thumbs, or you can leave the arms wider apart. Make sure it's still easy to breathe. So focus on the breaths. You can count another 3 breaths in and out. Focus eyes onto one spot. Let's take one more breath in and out. And then slowly exhale, release the upper body, the arms down, bring hands or just fingertips on the mat. Now we're going to step forward into a forward bend. So tuck your right foot toes under, lift the right knee off the mat, and then step the right foot to your left foot. Feet could be about hip width apart, knees slightly bent, round your spine. So arrive into a full forward bend. And I suggest first forward bend, we keep the knees bent, release the arms, maybe holding elbows in front of the legs like a ragdoll pose. And breathe a few times in and out. So we start to open more and more through the backs of the legs. Let the heavy head drop down. And take another breath in and out. Feel the weight is on both feet, evenly on the back and the front of the foot. Because next we're going to release the hands and arms down. Exhale, start to roll the back up by pressing the feet down and lifting up through the belly, lifting up through the chest, front side opening, lifting the back up. And you could roll the shoulders a couple of times once you've found your way into your standing mountain pose. And we're going to continue with standing poses here. So come close to the top of the mat. You could be facing the top of the mat. We're going to do a balancing pose and then continue into some chairs. First side, we're going to stand on the left leg and slowly lift the right knee towards the chest. And you could take hold of that right knee with both hands and help to lift the knee higher up, maybe even higher than your hip. Balancing on the left foot. Check that your both hips could still stay kind of about in the same level, so we're not hiking the right hip up. The long back lifting up. If you feel strong here, you could release the arms but leave the knee up. So you're strengthening even more your hip flexors, your core, to lift the leg up. Take another breath in and out here, breathing more to the ribs so you could keep the belly lifting up. And then exhale, release the right foot down. Take a bigger, deeper breath in and out. And bring your legs to either hip width apart, or you might step your feet together. We're going to go into a chair pose. First, as you inhale, reach your arms forward, palms facing each other. Exhale, bend your knees. Now lower the pelvis down and send your pelvis back. A bit like sitting onto a chair. And now we try to keep a long line from head to the tail. So not rounding, not back bending the spine, but keeping that neutral spine. And either keep the arms in front, or if you want, you can also bring palms together in front of the chest. That's often a bit lighter for the back and for the shoulders. So you choose. Keep breathing. Keep heels, keep balls of the feet grounded. You might lift your toes slightly off the mat. It might help to engage the fronts of the legs. Let's take another breath here, and then we're going to stay in a chair, but we're going to go into a twisted chair. So with your next exhalation, bring palms together and bring the back of your left hand to the outside of your right knee or thigh. And then as you inhale, turn chest even more to the right and either reach your right arm up to the ceiling, or you can bring your right arm behind the back. So the back of the right hand is resting on your back, actively twisting out to the right side. And breathing again, breathing more to the chest, more to the ribs. Make sure you're not twisting from the knees. Try to keep the knees in the same level. Take another breath in and out. And then as you exhale, release the twist. Bring palms together. And inhale, lift yourself up. And you can release the arms. You can roll the shoulders. And then bring your hands behind the lower back or around the hips. We're going to do a standing back bend. Excuse me. And for this, I suggest having feet hip width apart. So you have a bit wider base for this back bend. As you inhale, press the feet down and lift your chest up. You can even look higher up and either stay here or exhale, continue leaning shoulders a bit further back, but keep lifting your chest up. Pelvis can move slightly forward. So not hinging only from the lower back, but trying to keep that length through the lower back and more. Think of your upper back. So you're lifting the chest up, leaning the shoulders back. Keep lower belly drawn in. Take another breath in and out. And then inhale, lift yourself up to the center. Keep hands around your pelvis. And we're going to leave the right foot in front and now step the left foot further back. And you could slightly open the left foot so that you can bring both heels, both feet down. But here I suggest having feet about hip width apart. So you don't need to balance. We're going to do a forward bend with one leg in front. So this could be a bit more intense for that front leg. Both feet pressing down. Inhale, lengthen the back up. And then exhale, start to fold forward. First hinging from the hips. You can bend the right knee as you come down and forward. And when you're about halfway through, check how you feel. You can either stay there if that feels it's enough now, or you could exhale, round your spine, go even further down with your back, and either keep hands around the hips or bring fingertips on the mat if you feel that it helps with the balance. But if you want to challenge more, then keep hands around the hips, because that means you need to work through your legs, your core a bit more to stay in that standing forward bend when we don't use the arms, the hands for the balance. So choose the option that feels better for you now. If possible, let your head drop down a bit. Keep fronts of the legs active as we open the back side. Feet pressing down. Take another breath in and out. Shaking in the legs is very, very fine. And then, if you have hands around the hips, slowly start to release the hands down. Exhale, bend the right knee, the front leg knee. And we're going to step the left foot, the back foot, a bit further back and turn the heel up towards the ceiling into a runner's lunge. As you inhale, now press the right foot down and lift your back up. Reach arms up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring hands behind the head. You could interlock fingers, open elbows out to the sides. And inhale, open the chest. Exhale again, lean into a back bend. You could bend your back leg knee a bit. And breathe towards the chest. So a standing high lunge with a back bend. Take another breath or two in and out. Keep the legs strong. And then inhale, bring your back to the center. Exhale, release, hands all the way down to the mat. Step your both feet back into downward facing dog and take a moment to move the feet. Walk from one hand to the other, so moving the body a bit. Shake the head, release the neck. And then from downward dog, we'll come and rest in a child's pose for a moment. So now exhale, bring your knees down. You could release the toes and then lean the pelvis back to the feet into child's pose. And we're going to spend a few breaths in this child's pose. Let your shoulders soften, let your feet soften, let the hips soften. Taking a moment of rest before we do all those standing poses to the other side. Make sure you can keep on breathing through the poses. Sometimes that's the challenge, how to keep breathing through strong, challenging poses. It's a good preparation for everyday life, how to keep breathing through difficult moments. Let's take another breath in and out in our child's pose. And then slowly with your next few breaths, bring yourself back onto hands and knees. And we're going to go through those standing poses in a reverse order on the other side. But first, let's come up into downward dog, just to open the backs of the legs after that child's pose. And then our first pose on this side is going to be that back bending high lunge. So now with your next few breaths, slowly step your left foot forward. You can close
to the hands. You can adjust your feet. And then keep the right heel pointing up. We're going to inhale, lift the back up, arms reaching up. And we're going to do different arms on this side. So now as you exhale, bring arms down behind the back, interlock fingers, and then inhale, open the chest. Again, lifting up through the chest as you lean the shoulders a bit further back. The right knee, the back leg knee can bend a bit. And breathe. Keep tops of the shoulders soft, shoulders soft. And you can look up. Keep your gaze focused. Take another breath in and out. And then as you inhale, release your spine from that back bend. Release arms so that now you hold elbows, opposite elbows behind the back. And then step your feet just tiny bit closer together. You could step the back foot tiny bit closer so you can bring the heel down, bring the whole foot down as we prepare for that intense one-legged forward bend. So again, feet about hip width apart, arms behind the back. Inhale, open the chest, lengthen the back up. Exhale, come into flat back, halfway down. First, you can bend the left knee a bit as you come forward. Imagine here you're reaching your back, your head forward. And see if you would like to stay here in this flat back pose. Or if you'd like to exhale, round your spine a bit further down. So you bring your spine into that forward bend as well. Maybe even dropping the head down. And you have the options for the arms. Again, you can keep arms behind the back. Or you can bring your hands, your fingertips onto the floor. So you choose which option is better for you today. If you keep the arms behind the back, it's a bit stronger for your legs, for your core, because you're not leaning onto the hands at all. Let's take another breath or two in and out. Keep both heels pressing down. Keep the feet active. And then as you exhale, if you have arms behind the back, slowly, slowly release the hands, the fingertips onto the mat. And from here, we're going to step both feet forward next to each other and round the back briefly, full forward bend. You can shake the head a bit. And then slowly roll the back up. Come all the way up into mountain pose. Roll the shoulders. Now we're going to do again that chair and the twisted chair, but we're going to twist to the other side. So you choose either feet together or feet hip width apart. Prepare by lengthening arms in front of you. Again, palms facing each other. Inhale. Exhale, bend both knees, lean the pelvis back. So you can keep that neutral spine. So you're tilting your back forward. You could be looking down towards the floor as well. I find it helpful in keeping the neck in that neutral line with the rest of the spine. And remember, you have the option to bring palms together in front of the chest. Keep it at the back. The shoulders start to be quite tired already, so respect that and choose the option that feels good. Choose the option that allows you to keep breathing. Let's take another breath here. Reach head and tail away from each other. And then we prepare for the twist. So bring hands together. Exhale, bring the outside, the back of your right hand to the outside of your left knee or thigh. And then inhale, twist even further to the left side. You can reach the left arm up, or you can bring the left arm behind the back. And again, check that you don't start to twist too much from the knees. More think about turning the chest. And it could be just a small twist. It's a strong pose, so even a small twist is very, very fine here. You might turn your head. You can also look down to the mat if that feels better in the neck. Let's take another breath in and out. And then exhale, release the twist, come back to the center, hands together. Inhale, lift yourself up into mountain pose. And then release hands, release arms. Take a deeper breath in and out. And we have that balancing pose on the other side. So now we're going to stand on the right foot and lift the left leg up. So when you're ready, shift all the weight onto your right foot and exhale, lift your left knee in front of you and first hold the knee, hold the shin with your hands. You can lift the knee higher up. And as you might see, I prefer flexing the ankle, even flexing the toes. I find it helpful in engaging the front side. So you could try the same, but it's very optional. And keep lifting up through the back, keep lifting up through the belly. And again, if you feel strong here, you could try releasing the arms, but leaving the knee up. Then you're using even more your hip flexors, your core. Keep breathing more to the ribs. Let's take another breath in and out. And then exhale, release the left foot down. And take a moment in your mountain pose, just standing on 2 feet. Breathing, maybe calming down the breath, calming down the heart rate a bit before we continue from here. We're going to slowly move closer to the floor, and we have some poses down on the mat. First, we're going to go through a forward bend into a Malasana yogi squat pose. So already in this forward bend, open your feet wider apart, maybe all the way to the edges of your mat. And then open the chest, breathe in. As you exhale, start to roll your spine down. You could slide your hands down along the fronts of the legs, arriving into a full forward bend. Now you could bend your knees or you could keep your legs more straight. Here you have an option to bring your hands, your palms under your feet. So you're kind of standing on your own hands. And then exhale, come maybe tiny bit further down. So we are here actively using the front body to hug the torso and the legs towards each other. The arms could gently support in that process, not pulling yourself down because that might be too much for the back. But the arms could be there supporting, more using the fronts of the legs, hip flexors, the core to gently move closer to the legs with the upper body and maybe lower down, head coming closer to the floor. You can bend knees at any point. Let's take another breath or two in and out. So it's a very active forward bend. And then as you inhale, release the chest slightly away from the legs. If you have hands under the feet, release the hands onto the mat. And we're going to go into Malasana, the yogi squat pose. So now maybe start to walk your feet a bit wider apart. You can turn the toes more out to the sides and then lower your pelvis down. Now let your feet move as you find your way into that squat pose. I'll turn a bit more towards you so you can see better. So legs are open, the feet are slightly turned out. And you could keep your heels also off the mat. If that's the case, maybe lean weight onto the hands. Or if you comfortably get the heels down, you could bring palms together in front of the chest. But now we'll keep this as an active squat. So whether you have hands on the mat or palms together, imagine there's that lengthening going through the spine. Long line from the crown of the head to the tail. And the elbows, arms, so it could be also your upper arms, just supporting the inner knees so the knees don't collapse in. We're kind of opening the legs with the support of the arms as well. Take another breath in and out. And then if you have your palms together, release the arms in front of you. So now slightly lean onto your hands. I'll turn sideways again. So lean onto the hands, and then you could slightly rotate the feet, the hips in. We're going to sit all the way down onto the mat. You could step hands behind you, come down onto your pelvis, and step the legs in front of you. We're not going to go lying down yet. We're going to first do a boat pose. Make sure there is space behind you already here, just in case you roll on to the back. Now, I suggest bringing legs either together or closer together, so you can use your inner thighs to kind of squeeze towards the center line. Hands first behind the thighs, behind the knees, and then just very gently open your chest away from the thighs. So you're kind of leaning back a bit. And this could be your boat pose. Or if you want, slowly shift the weight onto tippy toes and lean the weight more onto the back of the pelvis. You could lift one foot off the floor, so the shin is in a parallel line with the floor. Or you could lift both feet off the floor. And again, I really like to hear flex the toes. It helps to engage the front side more. So this is our boat pose. Strong for the core, strong for the hip flexors. Make sure you find a place where you can still breathe. If you want to go one step further, release the arms so you're not holding your legs, but you're extending arms next to the legs. And then breathing again more to the chest. So we can keep the lower belly, the core, gently drawn in. Take 2 more breaths in and out. You can always bring hands back to the legs. And then exhale, release the feet down. Lean forward and hug the knees for a few breaths. Let your head drop down. Take a deeper breath in and out. And then we're going to slowly bring the head up, and now we're going to roll down onto our back. So bring yourself to lie down on the back. You can take a moment to find where you want yourself to be on the mat. But once you've found that place, bend your knees and step your feet about hip width apart, arms long down next to your sides. Breathe in and out. And then exhale. Press your feet down to the mat and lift your pelvis up. Lift into a bridge pose. Opening the front side of the body. So nice counter pose after those kind of quite deep hip flexions in the squat and in that boat pose. So counter pose for that opening. And breathe 2 more times here, in and out. Keep your inner feet, also big toes, pressing down. And then slowly exhale, release the back down. Vertebra by vertebra, pelvis comes down. And now for a moment, release your legs. Extend your legs down. Let your feet, your legs relax. If neck feels tense, you could rock head from side to side. And then we're going to do a second back bend, and you have options here. You can do the bridge second time, or if you like the wheel pose, if you're familiar and happy with the wheel pose, then you could go all the way into the wheel. Now, first bend your knees again. So same beginning as for the bridge pose. And we'll go step by step. If you know the wheel pose, you can go there in your own time a bit earlier as well. But I'll guide you through the bridge pose first. So again, exhale, press the feet down and elevate the pelvis, the back off the floor. Now, if you're going to stay in a bridge, try walking shoulder blades closer together, interlock fingers under pelvis, and then open the chest, the shoulders a bit more. If you want to try the wheel pose, then step hands next to your head, fingers pointing towards the feet, elbows pointing up towards the ceiling, lifting up through the pelvis. Pull your knees away from the head, push yourself higher up, and then you can start to lift your upper back, your head off the floor as well. So you end up with a weight on your hands and feet. So that's the full wheel pose. But you're very welcome to stay in the bridge. So choose your option. Take another 2 breaths in and out wherever you are. Be mindful of the shoulders, mindful of your back. And if you're coming down from a wheel, first, slowly tuck your chin to your chest, bring your upper back down, and then from the bridge, we all release down. So bring your back, bring your pelvis down, release the arms, and hug the knees in towards the chest. You could rock a few times from side to side. Take a couple of deeper breaths in and out. And once you've had a moment of hugging the knees, maybe rocking from side to side, we're going to add a twist. So now a relaxed, reclining twist here. So you could keep the knees close to the chest, or if you prefer, you could first bring the feet to the mat. We're going to open the chest. I suggest cactus arms today. And then exhale, bring both knees to the left side of the mat so that you leave your chest open. It could be that the right shoulder comes off the floor, and that's very fine. Don't feel like you need to force the shoulders down. And it could also be that the knees, the hips are not quite on top of each other. So feel free to adjust the legs if needed. Also, if these cactus arms don't agree with your shoulders today, you could adjust the arms lower down. You could bring arms down next to your sides. You can find a place where it's easy to breathe, and we'll try to make this twist a bit softer. Some more releasing tension, softening effort after that quite strong practice we've done. Maybe here, try a couple of times breathing all the way down to the belly. And then with your next exhalation, a bit of core support, draw the belly in and bring your legs back to the center. We're going to keep the chest open and go into the twist on the other side. Again, either hug the knees in or leave your feet to the mat. And exhale, bring both knees to the right side of the mat. You can adjust your pelvis, you can bring hips on top of each other if that feels better. Again, left shoulder here might come off the mat, and that is very fine. Keep breathing, keep softening. And also check your neck. Make sure you're not tensing the neck. You could open and close the mouth a couple of times to release the jaw. Sometimes we hold a lot of tension around the jaw. Give yourself a couple more breaths in the second side of the twist. And then again, after those couple of breaths, exhale, come back to the center, lift the knees up. And if you have your feet on the mat, hug the knees in. You can bring hands, arms around the legs as well. And either keep hugging the knees or find your way into happy baby pose. Opening the legs so knees turn out to the armpits. Reach hands to the feet or ankles or hold the backs of the thighs. And then either keep the knees fully bent. This might be enough of a happy baby now. Or slowly lift the soles of the feet up towards the ceiling, giving one more bigger stretch for the legs. You could rock from side to side in your happy baby pose. You could bend and straighten the legs as well. So whatever makes your happy baby happy now, let yourself adjust. It's a big opening around the pelvic area. Opening around the inner thighs, the groin area, hamstrings. And it could be that your pelvis, lower back come off the floor. So that's very fine. You can let your lower back round. Might even be a nice stretch in the lower back. Take another breath or two in and out. And then if you have your feet up, slowly release the feet down, close the hips, and then lower your feet down, all the way down onto the mat. And we're going to make our way into Shavasana pose, our final resting pose. And you have options to keep your knees bent, lying down on the back. You might extend your legs, lying down on the back. But also feel free to roll down onto your belly or roll down onto one side if that feels like a better resting pose now. You can close your eyes. And bring your full awareness back to your breath as you let your body calm down, quiet down. Find that calm, slow rhythm in your breath again. Give yourself a moment to rest. Allow each exhalation to soften your body. Allow each breath to quiet down your mind. If you notice there's tension in your body, allow the next exhalation to soften that tension, melt away that tension. Just notice how the body feels now, as we are slowly coming towards the end of our practice. If you want to stay longer in this Shavasana pose, in this resting pose, give yourself all the time that you want to take, that you need to take today. You can extend your resting pose to be as long as needed today. If you now feel ready to slowly wake up the body from Shavasana pose, take a slightly deeper breath in and out. You could sigh the breath out. Start to slowly bring gentle movement to your fingers, to your toes. Move your hands, your feet. You could even stretch your arms overhead along the floor. And start to open your eyes. Bring yourself back to your practice space. And then if you are lying down on the back, slowly from your Shavasana pose, roll down onto your side. If you've been in a different pose, just find slowly an easy way up into a seat, into your own final seat. And that could be a similar pose you had in the very beginning, or you might find a more comfortable pose. Where do you feel you could leave your hips, your shoulders, your back soft now? And give yourself a few more breaths in this seat. If it's part of your practice, you could bring palms together in front of the chest. And as always, at the end of the practice, thank yourself for taking this time to look after yourself, for practicing with your body, your breath, your mind. And I thank you very much for joining in. Namaste. Thank you. Good. Thank you so much for joining in. I hope you enjoyed the practice. If you did, please leave the video a thumbs up, and also you could leave a comment below. Just let me know how you feel now, or
If you have any questions about the practice, leave them in the comments as well. If you haven't already, please subscribe to the channel. There will be loads more yoga classes and other yoga related videos coming up. Thank you again, and I'll see you on the next video. Bye.